Ready to get your buzz on? Sports Buzz is here to take all calls and answer all questions about your favorite team, coach, or player, local, regional, and national. Sports Buzz, taking calls and kicking game.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Sunday Sports Buzz presented by livingforless.org, Louisville's only live TV sports talk show. We're here every Sunday night from 11 to 12, and we're taking your phone calls. Happy Labor Day. So we know everybody is getting back from the U of L game this afternoon, and hopefully you'll be able to call in with your reaction. I'm your host, Greg Brum. Joining me tonight, Nick Coffey, back for a return engagement, the founder of the CardinalConnect.com and host of Inside the Press Box on 1450 The Sports Buzz. Nick, you and I are both out at the football game today, and after seeing the performance that Louisville put on this afternoon, you know what? I'm elevating their ranking. If I'm ranking them right now, that's a top 5 team, if not better. I know it was Ohio, but Ohio was expected to put up much more of a fight than they did. Louisville dominated that game in every aspect from start to finish.
They did, and the one thing that really stood out to me was the efficiency, the fact that I think they had the focus in them to know. I don't even know if they focused on Ohio. They focused on what they do and what they needed to, their game plan. They never went away from it, regardless of the depth, the depth chart. If it was first string, second string guys, they stuck with the game plan, and Kai De La Cruz, who had his coming out game today. Charlie was doing his radio show, so they had him come in and talk in the first press conference, and they asked him, it was a perfect question. Were you more open than you are in practice? And he laughed because he wanted to answer it honestly, but he says, we played a good team today, but who I go up against in practice, I feel like those are some of the best.
I was closer to him than the defenders on a lot of those plays today.
What you said about their ranking, I mean, if Ohio really is, they're predicted to win that division of the MAC. They're that good.
The speed was so impressive. We know Charlie's been recruiting talent and speed, going down into Florida, getting some of the top recruits in the country. It was evident today.
Absolutely.
It was evident at wide receiver, where he has a bevy of guys who run by people, to the defensive line, to the defensive backfield. It was all over the field. Louisville was more physical. They were faster. They executed flawlessly. Teddy Bridgewater is almost perfect at quarterback. His passes his accuracy is what's so impressive with him. And, you can't really ask for anything more. I think you told me before the show you might ask Charlie about what he might need to improve on. How can you improve on this?
He's gonna preach to improve on technique and improve on fundamentals, and that's just part of being a coach. But you could tell after the game he was very, very pleased with the way his team played from top to bottom. And the one thing in the lock after the game, when you got to talk to specific players, James Burgess, who had a coming out game today, specific defensive guys. The one thing I asked is that I remember Charlie Strong being specific at the initial media day press conference. He said, we've got a really good team. We're excited. What he needs to say, but he said, I want to see more from our defense this year. And I asked each one of those guys, he wanted to see more out of you. You come out honestly against what could potentially be one of the best offensives you've seen. And Bo Blankenship and Tyler Tettleton, those are very, very good players, respectively.
I believe that, but either Louisville's
today,
that good,
exactly.
Today you saw nothing.
Exactly, and that's what I asked.
No creativity at all, or maybe Louisville just was that good to stifle them.
You're right, and that's what I asked him. I said, so far so good. You answered the test. What does that say about you guys? And, they said, I could tell just from the body language and what they were saying that they felt that they passed the test today, and they were kind of hungry to see more, but unfortunately, I'm not sure what more they're going to see offensively this season.
Yeah,
pretty much worse though, right?
I tell you what, if Ohio is one of the best teams, and they were one of the better teams, probably going to be a bowl team.
Yeah.
How much more resistance will Louisville get the remainder of the season? When you look through the schedule now, if Ohio is one of the better half of your schedule, it's going to take a really bad night for Louisville.
Very bad night.
But it only takes one slip up, and everything's down the tubes, really, as far as your national aspirations to sneak into a title game or the hopes of that. But I don't see how anybody – you're going to have to play really bad if you're Louisville, I think, with that talent to to let one slip away before Cincinnati, probably.
In your eye, though, in your opinion, I'm asking, because I'm asking everybody because honestly, I watched this team play today, and I'm thinking, this team looks very good, and if this is not against some, they're not playing, a team that's FCS.
It's a MAC team.
Yeah, they're a decent team, and they look very good. Are we seeing this and just think, okay, this team is what we thought they were, or are we seeing them as, because I guess my biggest question is, do other people see this and think, okay, I honestly, this is my opinion, I think other people from the outside world see how good this team looks and think, I would really love to see what they look like against an Alabama, look like against an LSU.
I think so, and I think playing on Sunday really probably is going to help this team even in the polls tomorrow. Might get a few more votes than they normally would because it's fresh in their minds. There's not a lot of
game
other
of the
football.
Day, pretty much.
Yeah, today. So that performance is going to stick in their mind. But right when you start feeling like nobody's going to challenge this team, that's when somebody comes out of nowhere.
That's when Central Florida comes to town.
That's exactly. Charlie's going to guard against that one time that you're thinking you're too good, and here comes a team like Connecticut last year, came into Papa John's. Syracuse put it to them, when they played at Syracuse, but that's what Charlie's going to guard against. Now, a lot of other college football this weekend, that first weekend of games and some marquee matchups, but I have to tell you, on Saturday, the game down in Nashville, and I'm going to say it, he's back, Nick. He is back. Bobby Petrino.
I don't know if he ever left, really, but yeah.
And it's not Johnny Manziel I'm talking about. Bobby Petrino is back, and that performance that Western put on, I think Western, while they were good last year with Willie Taggart, no doubt about it, very good football team. From what I saw, they've taken a step up. They've definitely taken a step up. That looked like a higher caliber just program.
It looked like a program, a team that had a system that had, I told you before we were on
first
air,
game.
It wasn't even a system, it's a machine that was just working and didn't stop. And the one thing that I took away from that Western team, I know we're going to talk about it later on in the show, but they were so confident in what they did, and I told you, it reminded me of watching Bobby Petrino and your brother Jeff lead that offense back. It was something. It was
like Louisville. It was almost like you were watching Louisville 06.
Yeah.
And the first drive especially, clinic. It was a clinic as they went down the field methodically, just 10 yards, 12 yards, 8 yards, run, pass, bootleg. It was vintage Petrino, and it was like you were flashing back, and probably for UK fans too, it felt like a flashback.
I guarantee it.
Because they looked like they just dominated UK on both ends of the field. How can it get any better for Bobby Petrino on a first game back?
It doesn't, man. And it was fun to watch. It really was. The fact that we were able to see that, I think Kentucky fans expected a more energetic team and more kind of morale, but it just wasn't there.
No, it wasn't. Our number 964-2121, the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzzline. We want to hear from you about Louisville, about Western, and I have a question, Nick. Think about this during the break. Who made more of a statement yesterday, Bobby Petrino or the University of Louisville today? Who made more of a statement this weekend, Bobby Petrino or the University of Louisville with their performance this afternoon? We'll be back in a moment. This is the Sunday Sports Buzz presented by livingforless.org.
Sports Buzz will return after these messages from our sponsors.
Smart shoppers, 'cause this is how you roll. You love your car, it's your best friend. There's one thing that you know. Before you drive around in the city or town, you want to show off, you know. Yeah, this is how you roll. That's what we're all about. Smart shoppers, 'cause this is how you roll.
Hi, I'm Jim Weeks. At MaxCare, no project is too big. We have the capabilities to handle the smallest residential project to the largest commercial undertaking. We even clean big houses like this one. And everyone has been abuzz about our amazing 4 areas for $99 special. We want to let everyone know that MaxCare also cleans upholstery, ceramic tile, and air ducts. We also install and refinish hardwood floors dust-free. MaxCare, locally owned and family operated. Give us a call, 636-4629.
The following is a small parody of Big Insurance.
Psst, excuse me.
Oh, yes? How can I help you?
I had a bit of a car accident, and I need Aguiar injury lawyers.
Of course. But What's with the bag?
Let's just say the people I work for would hate to see me here.
Yeah, get that a lot.
After a car accident, call Aguiar Injury Lawyers, 888-8888.
Excuse me.
Keep your eye on 21 for the latest news and weather information from the local team that is working for you. Weekdays at 1 p.m., you can see Wave 3 News midday on Channel 21. Get the breaking news happening right now in our community and around the world, plus the most accurate forecast from Kentuckiana's favorite weather team. Catch the day's news and weather at a time that's right for you. Wave 3 News midday, weekdays at 1 p.m. One more reason to keep your eye on 21.
Happy Labor Day, everyone. We hope you've had a great weekend and have a nice day off tomorrow. And thanks for tuning in to us tonight to talk about the big college football weekend. Louisville wins today, big over Ohio. Western puts it to Kentucky, really, in Nashville. I think the score probably not indicative of the dominance I think Western probably showed most of the game. Well, we want to hear from you, 964-2121, about this big college football weekend. Greg Brom along with Nick Coffey. Before the break, I asked the question, Nick, who made more of a statement this weekend, Bobby Petrino or the University of Louisville football team?
I think Louisville made a statement in a way that they did what they were supposed to do, and if anybody was doubting that they couldn't go out and beat a MAC team by that many points, they did it. I think Western is the team that made a statement in a way that said, we're not, we didn't take any step back with losing Willie Taggart. We still have some players, and put Bobby Petrino wherever you want to put him. They're going to be a good football team. He develops, he makes player. I mean, there's guys on that. There was true freshmen on it. I looked it up today because I was intrigued by it. There's true freshmen on that team that had offers from other schools that really were not worth mentioning, but they're already integrated with Bobby's offense in making plays.
Oh, yeah. Taylor started, true freshman receiver for PRP. He looked like a vet of most of the game.
He looked confident.
Timmons, you had Timmons on the other side. I think Taylor was every bit his equal on the Western side. Then you have a guy like Doty. A guy who you don't know what you have. People are like, he's only thrown about 14 passes his whole career.
Looks great.
He looked like a seasoned veteran.
He did.
I don't think he made a bad throw the entire game.
I think the play calling that they had for him early on really set the tone. That first drive, they had the short game going. They knew they could count on Andrews. They knew that he was going to, he's who he was. But they let him get comfortable, and then from then on, he was just making plays, doing. My prediction with Western, though, as far as statement, I think 2 weeks from now, we're not the only ones talking about them. I think you'll have national people not necessarily saying, okay, this is a team to watch for necessarily on the national level, but they'll be saying, Bobby Petrino can still coach. This team's going to be in a bowl game. Watch out, Sunbelt.
And they didn't get a lot of play on SportsCenter or college football final with Lou Holtz and Mark May beating Kentucky. But if they go into Knoxville, even Knoxville, Tennessee's in kind of a similar situation as Kentucky.
I'm looking forward to that game.
Going to that game next week, you do that. I think you're going to get a lot more play. I tend to think Bobby made a bigger statement this weekend, even though what I saw from Louisville is top five. Top five from what I saw this weekend, looking at everybody, I'm like, there's not a team I don't think Louisville will be right there in the ball game with of anybody that I saw bits and pieces here or there play this weekend. So, I think Louisville made a statement in itself, but I was a little bit surprised the dominance of Western over Kentucky had to be a bit discouraged. I know the talent's not there, obviously, and reinforcements are coming. But the dominance did surprise me a bit.
I know, and I know we're going to get some calls here in a second, but the one thing I will say about Western Kentucky is that last year when Willie Taggart went out there and they won that game, you'd have thought they won the Super Bowl. Yesterday, they just went out there and took care of business. They just took care of business and beat a team that they were better than.
Yeah, it looked like a confident professional performance by Western in Nashville yesterday. Let's go to Ross on the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz Line. Hey, Ross.
Hey, Greg.
How's it going? What's your comment?
Hey, first of all, I wanted to say that I don't know if you remember, I ran into you a couple weeks ago. And I just wanted you to know that Juggy and his wife had their baby yesterday morning.
Oh,
so,
good. Juggy.
Yeah, everything's good with that.
Sounds good.
Yeah, everything's good with
What'd you think of the games?
Oh, man. I was there, stayed to the very end. All you can say is just wow. Clearly, I'm there with you. I went into that game thinking that, Ohio had a very good offense and that they were going to be able to put a few points up on the board, and that was just I mean, that was just a total domination on our part. I mean, James Burgess was all over the field. You know, Kai on offense had a great game. Copeland had a great game. I mean, Dominique Brown looks like a great runner. Senoras had burst. I mean, everybody just played great. The special teams looked better, except for the two. I mean, the kickoffs I felt like looked better, you know, but there was the two, you know, legal procedures or, you know, kicking it out of bounds and whatnot. But he was kicking them deeper, so that was promising, I thought. But, you know, as big as a statement we made, I mean, I think the bigger statement was that Kentucky is really awful. They are awful, and their goal, maybe realistically, was maybe 4 wins this year. It's now at 3. They may not even beat Miami next week.
What?
They're not going to beat us, and they're not going to beat anybody in the SEC. They may win that other out-of-conference game later in the year. Like, they're terrible.
Well, I tell you what, Ross, and you know, I do think that they're going to learn a lot from this first game, probably get a lot better. But the one thing, I don't think there's any doubt in my mind, if you're going to run the offense that they want to run, you got to have Max Smith
yes,
as quarterback. I mean, Whitlow, yeah, in theory, boy, we're going to have a guy who can move around, and he's going to have present another dimension to the defense. However, he can't throw well enough. He cannot throw well enough to run that offense.
Not for that. And the one thing about Kentucky fans, I think they had optimism for right reason. Mark Stoops has really got some excitement that you've not seen in that program before. But I think it was kind of a gut check, kind of a humbling experience for them. That yes, you obviously are going in the right direction, but you really, you know, it was. Yeah. But the worst part about Kentucky fans, I have my brother-in-law's a huge Kentucky fan, but he's realistic. And I think the one disappointment was that not only did you not have the talent and the results on the field, but it was uninspiring. The guys didn't seem pumped up. They looked lethargic.
I tell you what, and it even goes to the way that the look. Western came out, jazzy uniforms, shiny helmets. Kentucky looked like Penn State.
Yeah.
Boring, blah, all white. I mean, it almost. I mean, Western had the sizzle. They had the sizzle in the game, and Kentucky really didn't have what you thought. You know, at least, hey, if they're going to be bad, at least they're going to be fun. But they weren't really fun yesterday.
It was the same team we saw last year. There's really no way around that. It was.
Yeah, there's a lot of work to do, and I know that Mark Stoops he's made great strides.
It's a project.
And you believe in the pedigree that he has. I definitely do that he can get it done. But yesterday was Bobby Petrino's day. There's no doubt about it. Let's go to Ben. You're up.
Okay. How's it going, guys?
Good.
How's it going, Ben?
All right. Yesterday, Bobby Petrino comes out. He beats UK. I think, you know, Ted's 82% passing and 5 touchdowns today was a pretty fat statement. But I think Western coming out and smacking UK in the mouth was even bigger. The 35-26 score of that game was not truly reflective at all. UK was reeling from the first snap.
Yeah.
And what's even more exciting is that Western is poised to go to Neyland next week and beat up on a weakened Tennessee team. I think Bobby Petrino scheduling 2 SEC teams in his first season is as big as a statement as he can make. Going out and deflating UK like they did and taking on a newly Butch Jones-led UT team next week is setting them up for what I think is an exciting season for Western Kentucky.
Hey, I couldn't agree with you more. You got Tennessee. Of course, Bobby didn't make the schedule. It was already in place. But Tennessee, they got Navy at home. They play at Army. I mean, they've got, the Sun Belt teams might be some of their tougher competition. You get a lot of that spread, the spread offenses that are tough to control. But you look out there yesterday, Western had the best players on the field. There's no doubt.
Absolutely.
Andrew Jackson, he had a Clowney-esque hit. The only thing missing was the helmet rolling down the field. Because he just he was everywhere.
He's a player.
He is a player. Antonio Andrews, they stuck in a backup running back when Antonio Andrews fumbled a couple of times. He looked as good, if not better. 2 big tight ends. I mean, hey, Willie Tiger did do a good job stockpiling that roster, but Bobby Petrino, he took it to another level as far as the efficiency of that team yesterday.
Last year's win for Western, I think some people saw it necessarily as a fluke, but a lot of those guys who beat Kentucky last year are still there, and they had confidence in it. And not only did they go out there and just, they played really well, but they were just the better team. That's what happened. It wasn't as if they just played out of their minds. They're a better football team.
Yeah, 2 great atmospheres really last 2 days, both in Nashville
living
and
it
here.
up, man.
Today, I tell you what, today was exciting. The fan base, seldom do you see the optimism from as much as you saw it today. It was packed out on the terrace. Of course, I love the terrace.
Crowd. You are a terrace man.
Absolutely. All right, we're taking your phone calls, 964-2121. The Sunday Sports Buzz presented by livingforless.org.
Smart shoppers, 'cause this is how you roll.
Get everything you need to make that old ride look new again at Smart Shoppers, the region's largest auto body supplier, providing you the full line of professional grade materials at the best prices around. Paint like the pros with a full line of House of Color paint products, only at
Smart shoppers, 'cause this is how you roll.
It's got a little name and big taste. Rally's new Lil Philly sandwich. Cha-ching! Juicy slices of authentic Philly steak with kickin' grilled onions and creamy cheese sauce. Just $1. Or get big flavor from our boldly packed garlic ranch Swiss burger. 2 big tastes, just $1 each. Rally's. Cha-ching!
Hey, Cards fans, this limited time offer is a real winner.
In today's dangerous driving conditions, safety is key. We're not all perfect drivers. Accidents do happen. 1-800-ASK-GARY can help you find a team of lawyers and doctors that can get you the help you need when you need it most. Call from the scene of the accident, day or night.
Did I pass?
You should call 1-800-ASK-GARY. Knowledge is power. Call 1-800-ASK-GARY, your auto accident helpline.
I thought all cleaning services were the same until Molly made my carpets fresh, until Molly made my bathroom glow, until Molly made my kitchen shine. I thought all cleaning services were too expensive until Molly made my day. Now, meet the cleaning professionals that work as hard as you do. Call this number for your free in-home consultation and customized estimate. Wow, Molly Maid was here.
Sports Buzz.
Greg Brom with Nick Coffey from theCardinalConnect.com and Inside the Press Box on 1450 The Sports Buzz. We're here every Sunday night from 11 to 12 taking your phone calls, talking about the weekend activities and sports. And this weekend was big. Western and UK opened yesterday in Nashville with Western, an impressive victory over the Cats, and Louisville dominating Ohio today at Papa John's Cardinal Stadium. And throughout college football, I think probably the big national story was Johnny Manziel, Nick.
The suspended half.
Suspended the first half against Rice, and comes out and then just flaunts, it seems like, the fact that he got away with it.
What's funny is that he did, because I watched only that second half. I was out and about, and I'd gotten to a spot where the second half was starting, and he come out there and was Johnny Manziel we saw from last year, running, making play. He was being Johnny Football, but he also was being Johnny Football and being really, obnoxious. And there's certain people that really love that about him, that he's so arrogant. But I'm just on the other side.
Me too.
I love him as a player because he's so talented. But I can't stand the shenanigans. I sound like get off my lawn guy. But I don't care for it.
Hey, you know what now too though? I'm starting to say, where has Kevin Sumlin been?
Very good point.
What is? I mean, now you come up and you bench him when he does go way over the line during the game. And you took him out for the rest of that game. But are you going to start him the next game? Where were you the whole offseason? Did you not have a conversation with the guy? And I mean, the head coach has to have some control over the quarterback. That quarterback is running the show. The head coach
running that town
is not in control. He's not running. The inmates are running the asylum there because Manziel can get away with anything, and he knows it.
If it takes Johnny Manziel mouthing off to a defensive player after a touchdown And that's what draws Kevin Sumlin to run out
But
there.
it took multiple times, even during this game, for him to do
I
something.
think, yeah, you're right. I think it was like one little that was the last straw where he was actually going to actually let cameras see him getting on his quarterback, letting him know that that's out of line. But it's already been too far. He's already who he is. You can't. I mean, there's no discipline. You're right.
The genie
He's
is out
running
of the bottle.
asylum.
The genie is out of the bottle with that. But yeah, it's really getting. He's out of control.
The
now.
one thing I heard yesterday that was honestly probably the best line I heard in college football. When you're a freshman, first ever freshman to win the Heisman Trophy, you're Johnny Football. You're one of the best players in college football, and your team doesn't vote you a captain. That's saying something.
Yeah, it definitely is a big weekend in college football, and we have full phone lines. We're still taking your calls, 964-2121. Let's go to Kelly first up.
Hey, guys. Man, what a college football weekend kickoff, especially locally. You know, the Cards looked great. Teddy Bridgewater is obviously electric. The only thing from the Cards game I'd like to see a little bit more is maybe give Michael Dyer some more carries. I don't know what, as far as Kentucky goes, I don't know what Neil Brown was thinking, like you guys said. You know, Jalen Whitlow has no accuracy. I've never been on a coaching staff in football at all, but I'm pretty sure to have an air raid offense, you do have to have some accuracy. But, Greg, to answer your question from earlier, I do have to give the impressive weekend award to Bobby Petrino. I don't know what it is. This guy's amazing. And, Greg, I'll actually ask you a question about that. What is it that makes him so good? You watch the games and you can just say he should fake the. It looks like it's 3rd and 1. He should fake it there and then he should pass it, and he does it. And I don't know how he does it, and nobody else. It's like he just is on a different level as far as play calling than anyone else. I'll hang up and listen, guys.
I tell you what, Kelly, Nick and I were talking about this a little bit before the show, and I think it's because Bobby, while he has a great system, he's not stuck to it. I mean, he's not married to it so much that he won't adjust. He individualizes every game plan to the opponent. It looked like it looked really like the whole first half was scripted. We're going to do this, and then when they do this, we'll do this, and then we're going to do this to them. And then we know every move they're going to make before they make it, and we're going to do this 2 steps ahead of them. It was if there was a Bobby Petrino textbook, that was chapter 1, pages 1 through 30 yesterday.
And you could answer this obviously more than a lot of people could, but I feel like that when Bobby puts that together, it's based on what he sees of you, but it's not necessarily. They're not going to adjust you. This is what they see who you are, and they're going to throw this at you, and that's just what they're going to do. And 9 times out of 10, it works.
It does. Hey, you know what? Feed the studs has always been his motto as well, and he gets the ball in the hands of the guys who can make plays. And he has guys this year. He's got some guys. I mean, and
nobody knew it, but he does. I mean, and he can not only do. One thing about Bobby Petrino, I think also there's certain players that really excel in his system that may not do that in others. I think players benefit from playing from him, if that makes sense.
Well, that quarterback definitely. I don't think anything was expected of him, and he looked like $1 million.
He was competing for that job for weeks, and then comes out there.
But you almost felt like you could have plugged you and I in there, and we'd have looked close to that.
Maybe you, not me. Maybe you, not me.
All right, let's go to James. You're up.
Yes. I was real impressed with the U of L game. A lot of people were thinking that because of the bowl game that they might have a letdown on their first game, but they looked awesome today. And on the UK and Western game, I was impressed with the way that Western really looked. I thought that Kentucky would have done a better job if they'd have put Max Smith in earlier. And that's all I have to say. So good luck, you guys. Have a good evening.
Well, I'll tell you what, it did look, I mean, we always look back later, and I do think Max Smith fits what Neil Brown's done in the past at Texas Tech much better than Jalen Whitlow. And last year when Whitlow threw it wasn't accurate. But it's easier, maybe they make that change for the next week, and it took them a game to figure it out. But Kentucky, they didn't have a spark, really. Like
That's what I didn't get.
There was not much spark there. And Western physically looked better. Bigger. They looked more faster. They looked like the team from the higher profile league.
That's what I was going to say. If you're just judging by the blind eye, no uniforms, they're just wearing white and blue T-shirts, you would have thought that was the SEC team because they looked more physical, they looked like they were going to come out there and beat you, and they did. The one thing that really, even to right now, I'm still surprised that Kentucky had all that jazz, all that stuff going for them in the offseason, the air raid, the nation has awoken. I'm going to leave here, I'm going to drive by a billboard that says that, but they're still sleeping because nobody woke up. Because it's the same team from last year, just a different staff on the sideline trying to figure out what's going on.
Well, I tell you what, in 2 weeks, Louisville, no
they
doubt,
scored 60 points last night.
They're going to beat Kentucky by 3 or 4 touchdowns. I mean, I
easily.
Know they are with what we saw this afternoon. Let's go to Brian real quick. Brian, you're up. Brian, you're up.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. What's the name of the receiver with the red hair?
Dela Cruz.
Dela Cruz. All right. Now he Copeland is Honey Mustard, so Dela Cruz is Catalina. But here's the other question.
Actually, Charlie Strong calls him Rihanna.
Really? Oh wow. That's funny. But look, let me ask you, Will Gardner, okay? Obviously, he gets in there, he's in there for a whole quarter. But there's a fine line. I know we don't want to run up the score, but when you've got him in there only making 3 passes in a quarter and he's just handing the ball off, what kind of experience is he getting? I mean, if JD were to go down, he's not going to just be handing the ball over. We're going to look for him to run the offense. So it seems to me like maybe there's a fine line between running the score up and actually having him run plays as if he's trying to score. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
I think Will Gardner getting in and actually completing a touchdown pass is unbelievable for him. I don't know what it does for him long term, but the staff has raved about Will Gardner. Sean Watson, that is his guy. I mean, Sean Watson plugged him from Alabama. Kid had an offer from Alabama, and they've all raved about him. But everybody, your mindset's probably where mine was. You've all talked about it. I've watched him in the open practices. I've watched him in the spring games. Looks solid, but I don't really see it today. I think completing those passes on that stage, that touchdown pass he had to Kyle Dela Cruz, I think that kind of gets his confidence there to where he feels like he can come in and make plays. If Teddy, does get hurt.
Yeah, and he's going to play a lot. Yeah. I mean, he'll play a little bit every single
game.
game.
If Ohio is one of the better teams on the schedule, you're right.
It does. If this is one of the best teams on the schedule, he's going to play a lot. And regardless of how much you play him, if Bridgewater gets hurt, you're in trouble anyway. I mean, it's going to be a drop-off. Yep. But you have enough talent, you probably can survive it.
I wouldn't want to take that gig after Teddy.
No,
I wouldn't want to be that guy.
You want to be the guy who follows the guy, not the guy who follows the guy who follows the guy. All right, let's take a break now. We're taking your calls, 964-2121. This is the Sunday Sports Buzz presented by livingforless.org.
Sports Buzz will return after these messages from our sponsors.
The landscape of sports radio has changed in a big way. 1450 The Sports Buzz has you covered with the best and most local and national programming in the Kentuckiana area. Mason and Myers in the morning, The Dan Patrick Show, The Afternoon Drive with Perrin Johnson and Trevor Kelson, and Inside the Press Box with Nick Coffey, as well as the best high school coverage in the area. Get the best coverage in Kentucky and Southern Indiana with 1450 The Sports Buzz and 1450thesportsbuzz.com.
Hey, Joe here for Joe's OK Bayou. There are 2 things I've learned in the almost 20 years of doing business. First, every Cajun has their own secret recipe to a good gumbo. And second, I never claim to be better than Mama's cooking. We've been cooking up true Cajun for a long time now, and I think we're starting to win over some moms. Well, there might be a few tough moms out there yet to convince, but we're making progress. Stop in today and see for yourself how we measure up to mom.
Joe's OK by you. It's OK by me. I mean, Mama.
Attention sleep apnea patients. You could qualify to have your supplies regularly delivered right to your door at little or no cost to you. That's right, no more inconvenience, no worn out masks and straps, no more unsanitary equipment, just restful sleep. Don't delay. Call us now to see if you are eligible to save money on regular delivery of your CPAP and BiPAP supplies.
Call 1-800-667-1850. That's 1-800-667-1850. Or go to cpapsupplyhelpline.com.
We're back. The Sunday Sports Buzz presented by livingforless.org here every Sunday night from 11 to 12. Greg Brom along with Nick Coffey this evening. We're talking about the Cards, the Cats, and the Toppers, as well as the rest of college football on this opening weekend of the college football season. We're taking your calls, 964-2121. 21-21. Let's go right to them. Bill, you're up. Hey, Bill.
Yes, sir.
You're up.
Okay. I'd like to talk about Johnny Manziel. When he was playing his game, when we was playing college football or we was playing high school football, our college coaches always told us whenever we scored a touchdown or made an interception or a sack or something, act like we'd done it before. Don't showboat or anything. And Johnny Manziel was showboating all day that day when he was playing the game the other night. But back to UK. UK is going to have a rough year this year, I think. I don't think they're going to even have a winning record. And U of L, I think they are going to go back to a BCS game. And I'd like to know your opinion. What do you think U of L is going to do when they join the ACC without, of course, the quarterback, and we're losing Devontae Parquet? And
well, I'll tell you what, Bill, speaking of in the ACC, I think long-term, Louisville will be near the top of the ACC consistently. Now, right when they get in the league, I don't think you can expect much more than 7-5, 8-4-ish, especially if Bridgewater's gone. 8-4 would be huge. That's going to be a great year in the ACC. You're not going to go 10-11-1 unless you're a national championship caliber team in the ACC. So it's not going to be a walk that Louisville is winning that league every year. That's going to be impossible to do. I just think Louisville will be near the top all the time.
What's different about that, though, that I think is so interesting and it's going to be fun is that Louisville's never really had a league where that was the case, and it's going to be that way now. Back in their great days with Schnellenberger, they were independent and it was different. Then they went to Conference USA and they had some down times, but they also had some good times here and there. But it was Conference USA. Big East, same scenario. They had some their bumps along the way. They're going to a league that has some has some stability, has some tradition, and they're going to have to grow and kind of earn their stripes there. But what's unfortunate is I think this year Louisville's team could win that league.
Yeah.
Next year I don't know. Next year they can compete and be one of the top few teams, but this year I think they can win.
I'll tell you what. Speaking of the ACC and ACC teams, and this year I think they could win the league. Clemson also had a big win.
Yesterday,
you talk about a program that might have done a lot for themselves this weekend.
Tosh
I think
Boyd,
Louisville did, but Clemson beating Georgia, I think,
did.
put themselves right in a national championship hunt.
I agree, and
with
that's
that victory.
in a way, I guess long term that may help Louisville because I think that anytime an SEC team like Georgia, the way they were ranked, loses, considering both were ranked ahead of Louisville, you'd like for both of them to lose. but I think that the fact that here's the way I looked at it. When you have Rice giving A&M a game for a little while, let's be honest. How much better is Rice than Ohio? We don't know now, but as far as if you go off preseason votes from AP voters, which whatever that means, I don't know. Ohio is a top 35 to 40 team, and look what
Louisville did not either. Louisville didn't make them look that way, or they just didn't look that
Ohio,
way.
I had more votes by AP voters than any team on Louisville's schedule.
I really think after seeing Louisville, and I've been one to think that Louisville was going to lose one, and actually I thought before the year it may be even more likely to lose two than go undefeated.
Yeah.
Just because they tend to let one slide
happens,
away.
Yes,
but after seeing the day, they're a top 5 team in my eyes. You got Alabama just because they're Alabama, Oregon I think up there. Clemson with the big win. I'm thinking of teams that Louisville's right there with the. Ohio State didn't look dominant.
No, what you said earlier was perfect. It will take Louisville to play very bad to lose a game, unless it's the Cincinnati or the Rutgers or even a Central Florida. South Florida lost to McNeese State.
Yeah.
There's
UConn losing, and that was the one team I thought they might slip.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to Elizabeth. Let's go to Elizabeth. Let's go to Daniel. Elizabeth, you up?
Go ahead.
I wanted to say that I was really impressed by Michael Dyer, and I really hope to see more of him throughout the season.
Well, hey, Nick, speaking of what Elizabeth said, who'd you like best at running back?
I thought everybody kind of threw their own dynamic out there, but the one thing that Michael Dyer has that I'm not... Sonoris Perry and Dominique Brown, they're solid running backs that are very capable of being your every down backs. But the one thing that Michael Dyer has that's undeniable, he's a big playmaker. He showed it today, and when you rush for 2,000 yards in the SEC in your freshman and sophomore seasons, you've proven that you can make big plays on any level. And I think going forward we will see more of Michael Dyer. And I think today was kind of just the variance, see here and there. but he's. I mean,
I think
he
you'll
can
see a lot more of
he
it.
can make plays.
Yeah, he can definitely. He's got big playability, as you said, and you know, I think Dominique Brown is more a power guy, and Sonoris is even more just steady power type of backs, and then you bring this guy in, and I mean, he
kind of has a little bit of both.
Squad, he got the speed. It looks like
he's a poor man's Ray Rice.
Yeah, but a big run today for Michael Dyer. Let's go to Tony. Tony, you're up. Tony, are you with us?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Hey, Tony.
Hey, I wanted to call in say that I haven't seen as many 1AA or FCS teams beat 1A teams that I saw this week, and I think there were 9. I didn't hear anybody mention how bad Taggart got beat in his debut at South Florida. McNeese State just rolled over them. A couple of Big 12 teams lost to FCS schools. They were just all over the place. I know Eastern Washington upset Oregon State. I also wanted to say I don't think any athletic programs come further in 10 years than what Louisville's done. And Judgerich has got to be the best AD in the country. And I'm not even a big Louisville fan, but I just got to pay his respects. He's got about every team he's in the athletic department near the top 10. And I wanted to hear your all's opinion on give me a percent on what you think, how likely it would be for UK to only get 1 win this year. That'd be against Alabama State. I know Miami of Ohio is not that good, who they play next, but they're not. UK is not very good either. Looks like there's just all kinds of controversy with the quarterback and everything. And then I guess it's just going to be inevitable that the big recruit Tolles is going to end up transferring out because he's third on the depth chart, and he's got a guy in his own class that's right there with him playing Whitlow. So I don't know what happened to him, but I know he was huge coming out of high school when he came on the field.
He's actually the biggest quarterback prospect to come to Kentucky that I know of. But as far as them winning 1 game this year, I would probably, if I was betting money that it was coming out of my wallet, I would say they probably would win more than 1, but it really wouldn't surprise me after what you've seen last night. And their schedule is just so tough. It's going to be that tough. We're going to get to a break, come back on the other side. If you guys want to get involved, 964-2121 is the phone number. That is the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz line. We're taking your calls here on the Sunday Sports Buzz presented by livingforless.org.
Sports Buzz will return after these messages from our sponsors.
Hi, I'm Jim Weeks. At MaxCare, no project is too big. We have the capabilities to handle the smallest residential project to the largest commercial undertaking. We even clean big houses like this one. And everyone has been abuzz about our amazing 4 areas for $99 special. We want to let everyone know that MaxCare also cleans upholstery, ceramic tile, and air ducts. We also install and refinish hardwood floors, dust-free. MaxCare, locally owned and family operated. Give us a call, 636-4629.
Little Bo Peep wanted a car for keeps. She looked all around and got turned down. Then she met the fine folks here at Jim Brown Auto Sales.
Don't let the wool be pulled over your eyes. Come see my daddy's flock of cars, trucks, vans, and SUVs with down payments as low as $99. Visit us today on the web at www.JimBrownAutoSales.com. Who's your daddy?
¿Quién es su papá? Cha cha.
Need a less destructive way to kill your bed bugs? Call SWAT Team Pest Control. All of the killing with none of the damage.
Don't let computer problems frustrate you, whether it's pop-ups, a virus, hardware or software problem, or troubleshooting any computer problems. Simply call Igloo On-Site Computer Repair. Igloo's highly professional, experienced technicians will come to your home or business and put an end to your computer problems at 1/3 the cost of most competitors. Call now, 2 On-Site. That's area code 502-266-7483. Igloo On-Site Computer Repair.
think everybody realizes the great job Tom Jurich has done as AD at Louisville, but someone else may be vying for AD of the Year honors, and it might be Todd Stewart at Western Kentucky. Pulling off Bobby Petrino, comes in. Western looked like just another caliber of football program, and Bobby Petrino handles UK. He and his team and his coaching staff yesterday, 35-26. The score probably wasn't indicative of how well they played throughout the game. Then Louisville today, a huge win over Ohio, very easy, a lot easier than many people thought. It wasn't. I mean, Nick, wasn't this one that you thought, hey, they might struggle a little while? It might be the second half where they pull away, and they won this from the outset.
I thought it would be a close game. I honestly thought Ohio was going to move the ball and score some points, and that's the one thing that I'm going to be interested to see as they move on this season. Is the defense going to continue to play that well? Because that's the one thing Charlie Strong said. I like my team. I like what we did last year. We had a really good year, but I want to see our defense play better. And Charlie and Vance Bedford echoed that afterwards and said, we got conservative last year. We need to be all over the field making plays. And James Burgess was, someone who a lot of people honestly probably didn't know his name before the game. Yeah. They knew all about him by the end, and they made him available randomly at the end in the media because he played well. He wasn't expected to be there, but he played so well everybody wanted to talk to him. And I asked him, how did this happen? And he said, we got to credit our defensive line, because they did everything right, and I was just, I was given an opportunity, and I thought I played well today. And but I asked him, I said, Charlie Strong said he wanted to see more from the defense this year, and you guys, you stepped to the test today. What was it like during the fall camp? And he kind of chuckled.
I heard it was a tough fall camp.
Yes, he chuckled a little bit, and he said, Coach Strong, he was on us more than I'd ever, he said he was more on us more than I expected. It was him and Coach Bedford were just, they were not going to accept anything better than excellence from us, and we went in, we fought hard, and one thing he really said that I think is true. He said, look at, he actually was very entertaining. He said, look at the offense we have to go against in practice. And he's right.
Could you have better practice,
exactly.
a better opponent to practice against every single day? Something else that gets me with Louisville in the last couple of years, and this is their depth and strength of one of the strengths of their team. You look at the star receivers you have and the guys you talk about all the time, the Devontaes, and you'll see the Eli Rogers, and it's the Copelands who make the big catches. This is De La Cruz, who nobody's thinking about, who comes up with 2 touchdowns. Robert Clark. I mean, they're so deep and good that the spectacular players don't have to be the guys to carry the load. They can take the guys who are kind of the role players. Copeland has been a possession guy, a reliable guy for a couple of years now, and then you just pull him out of a hat. Who's this guy? I've never heard of him before. Well, he's going to score 2 touchdowns today, and that's what happened for Louisville. But the depth of receiver is so astounding.
And that's when Copeland was available for media today, and they were asking him, my main question was, what are practices like for you guys? Because you're all, there's three depth charts of you, 3 strings of you guys that are fighting for spots and could probably start on other teams. And he kind of laughed to it and he said, you got to fight for it. But we all know that eventually at the end of the day we're all going to get a chance. And when you saw guys like Robert Clark and De La Cruz, who you didn't really know a lot about, but you learned about them today because they can all play. My only question is, I wonder this a lot of times. Is the wide receiving group really that talented, or is it just the system? Is it the quarterback? But the more I watch, the more I really just think they have a lot of weapons at wide receiver.
They have a lot, and they looked way faster than Ohio. I mean, the speed difference was noticeable. But the system is good. That system is good. It gets them open. Teddy throws that back shoulder fade is good. Copeland made the nice second touchdown, but he throws that back shoulder fade is probably as good as anybody. But the depth is showing at positions, and guys down the line are making plays. I think you and I were on board. We both thought 11-1 going into the season. Have you reevaluated after seeing today? Does it make you jump that? I mean, do you think you're probably more? Are you more?
I'm more inclined to say that I don't know who's going to beat them. It's not more. I'm not more of questioning as Louisville. I'm questioning who's on the schedule that's going to give them a game. I do think going to Cincinnati, going to Nippert Stadium, which we found out now is the last game at Nippert Stadium for a year because they're going to do renovations and they're going to play at Paul Brown next year. That's going to be a game because if you watched Cincinnati play, who knows how good Purdue is? Yeah. That's a Big Ten team. Cincinnati, they look solid, but still, Louisville should be better.
That's going to be a tough environment. If it's that big a game, like going for an undefeated
Both teams could be undefeated at the time.
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough place to play under those circumstances. It's
a tough ticket to get to. But I honestly, from what I saw today, I know it's just one game, and maybe Ohio might not have been quite as good as some people thought they were. But right now, from what I'm seeing, I have a tough time seeing them lose a game, not just because they're that dominant, but I'm not sure who on their schedule is going to be that good because, as you mentioned when we started the show, they're going to have to play really bad to lose.
They are, because they can win so many different ways. With so many 615 yards of offense today. Could
have had 800.
Held Ohio under 100 yards rushing, 13 for 16 on third downs, 13 for 16. I mean, you don't hear numbers like that. Louisville completely in control today. Very, very impressive. We got one more segment, so give us a call, 964-2121. We'll be right back. The Sunday Sports Buzz presented by livingforless.org.
Sports Buzz will return after these messages from our sponsors.
It's got a little name and big taste. Rally's new Lil Philly Sandwich. Authentic Philly steak, onions, and creamy cheese sauce. Or the Garlic Ranch Swiss Burger. 2 big tastes, just $1 each. Cha-ching! Rally.
Little Bo Peep wanted a car for keeps. She looked all around and got turned down. Then she met the fine folks here at Jim Brown Auto Sales.
Don't let the wool be pulled over your eyes. Come see my daddy's flock of cars, trucks, vans, and SUVs with down payments as low as $99. Visit us today on the web at www.JimBrownAutoSales.com. Who's your daddy?
¿Quién es su papá? Cha cha.
Keep your eye on 21 for the latest news and weather information from the local team that is working for you. Weekdays at 1 p.m. you can see Wave 3 News midday on Channel 21. Get the breaking news happening right now in our community and around the world. Plus the most accurate forecast from Kentuckiana's favorite weather team. Catch the day's news and weather at a time that's right for you. Wave 3 News midday, weekdays at 1 p.m. One more reason to keep your eye on 21.
Get more chicken at Rally's. 2 boxes, $2, 2 ways. 2 pieces of crispy white meat chicken. Or our fun, poppable chicken bites. Packed in a box with our seasoned fries. Chicken strips or bites box. Just $2 each. Rally's.
Make sure you tune in to 1450 The Sports Buzz throughout the week. Besides our man Nick Coffey's show Inside the Press Box from 5 to 6, we have the afternoon drive from 3 to 5 with Trevor Kelsey, Perrin Johnson on board for that show, Dan Patrick and Jim Rome in the middle of the day, as well as Steve Saban to wake you up in the morning. 1450 The Sports Buzz, and this is the Sunday Sports Buzz. We've been here, Nick, we've been doing this for 3 years, and this is our 3rd year doing the Sunday Sports Buzz. Time has flown by.
A lot of things have changed, haven't they?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we're living it up in this nice furniture now.
Nice couches now.
Get comfy. We've enjoyed it. We've enjoyed it, and we're happy that you tune in to us, and I get comments quite often from people about the show, and the thing about this show is you can call in, 964-2121. You can weigh in on what happened this weekend. Louisville, big winner today, and Western, big winner yesterday versus the Kentucky Wildcats. And, going into the game, Nick, people talked about the D-line for Kentucky. Non-existent. No pressure. Doty just could have sat back there all day long, and he did, and he picked Kentucky apart. But the people that were supposed to make impacts for Kentucky really didn't show up.
No, and that's the one. Not only were they just lethargic as a team as a whole and didn't really have any. There was no air raid, whatever that. Maybe they're still waiting to release that later. I don't know why, but I mean that's a game that if you're looking at their schedule, maybe they not necessarily were they were like a 3-point favorite, but that's one winnable game on their schedule they have. That's not many of them.
Well, every scenario that got to 6 wins included a win over Western.
Easily.
There was no chance without it, and even 5 wins included that.
I'm looking at them, and I don't know what to point to say, okay, do this better, do that better, and then they can have a formula to win. I don't see a winning football team. What made it more discouraging, if you're a UK fan, in my opinion, is that you didn't see a team that rallied behind their new coach and had a new zest about themselves, because it just wasn't there.
I think the first drive demoralized them.
Absolutely.
I think it was so easy. it looks so easy.
And
And
I
they
think-
probably felt it too, like, oh man, it's no different. Here
No
we
doubt.
go again. And I think Stoops is going to have to get those guys back. He almost lost them a bit in that first drive.
Kentucky was surprised how easy it was, I think, for Western. And I think that from there, it was just, what do we do?
All right, let's go to Oliver on the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz line.
Hey, Greg, how y'all doing?
Doing great.
Y'all can hear me pretty good?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. I wanted to make two comments. I wanted to talk about, y'all were talking about how what makes Petrino such a good coach wherever he goes. If you look at Bobby Petrino, Nick Saban, Urban Meyer, and Charlie Strong is starting to get there. If you look at the intensity that he coaches with,
Yeah.
I mean, I liken him to Teddy Roosevelt. He speaks softly, carries a big stick, and if you watch the assistant coaches, they take on his persona, they carry it to the players, and if you watch the sidelines, everybody is into what that guy is saying, to the T. And I think that's what makes him such an awesome coach here or wherever he goes. I mean, if you're going to play for him, you're going to play with nitrous, because that's what I liken him to. He ignites whoever's playing for him or whatever he's doing. And the second comment I wanted to make, I went to the game today. It was totally awesome. And guy asked me one time, he said, what's Miami like? I said, what's your favorite dessert? And he said, chocolate cake. I said, just imagine having chocolate cake stuffed in your mouth every time you open it. That's what I liken the Louisville play today. I had to leave in the third quarter. I couldn't.
You were full.
Yeah, baby. But y'all do a great job, man, and I tune into y'all's show, and y'all
Thanks,
getting better
Oliver.
every year. And go Cards, baby. Go Cards.
Thanks, Oliver.
Hey, I tell you what, one thing we did talk about, we said it on your show, the continuity of the coaching staff.
Made a difference.
Bobby's staff has coached together before. Mark Stoops, they're still getting to know each other. And I think it does make a difference. Mike Cassidy coached these players at Kentucky last year,
Yep.
too. You talk about having the inside word on the personnel.
And real quick, we're almost out of time. Greg Rom deserves credit because he literally called this. Not necessarily that WKU would win because I think other people predicted that, but the one thing you pointed out to me that kind of stuck with my mind, and I saw it happen in real time, was that the staff really just, that the continuity, they've done it before, and you could tell they were used to each other.
I tell you what,
Made a
maybe
huge
because
difference.
I do know them a little more personally and know what's a little bit about how they do operate, that I believe that would be the case.
And it did.
And I tell you what, though, you can see the players believing.
Oh, absolutely.
Man, they buy in. They bought in totally that Bobby Petrino and that system will make them great.
And I know we're running out of time, but it's going to be competitive in Knoxville next weekend. I think it will be.
It's at 12 noon, same time as the Louisville Eastern game as well. Kentucky and Miami of Ohio. Does Kentucky bounce back? Do they beat Miami of Ohio?
I'm saying no. From what I've seen, I don't think so. I just don't.
Well, they need that one. They really do need that one. John, sorry we couldn't get to you. Please tune in, call in next week. We'll be back at 11 o'clock next Sunday, the Sunday Sports Bus presented by livingforless.org.
The landscape of sports radio has changed in a big way. 1450 The Sports Buzz has you covered with the best and most local and national programming in the Kentuckiana area. Mason and Myers in the morning, The Dan Patrick Show, The Afternoon Drive with Perrin Johnson and Trevor Kelsey, and Inside the Press Box with Nick Coffey, as well as the best high school coverage in the area. Get the best coverage in Kentucky and Southern Indiana with 1450 The Sports Buzz
and 1450thesportsbuzz.com.
Hey, Joe here for Joe's OK Bayou. There are two things I've learned in the almost 20 years of doing business. First, every Cajun has their own secret recipe to a good gumbo. And second, I never claim to be better than Mama's cooking. We've been cooking up true Cajun for a long time now, and I think we're starting to win over some moms. Well, there might be a few tough moms out there yet to convince, but we're making progress. Stop in today and see for yourself how we measure up to mom.
Joe's okay by you. It's okay by me. I mean, Mama.
Don't let computer problems frustrate you, whether it's pop-ups, a virus, hardware or software problem, or troubleshooting any computer problems. Simply call Igloo On-Site Computer Repair. Igloo's highly professional, experienced technicians will come to your home or business and put an end to your computer problems at a third the cost of most competitors. Call now, 2 On-Site. That's area code 502-266-7483. Igloo On-Site Computer Repair.